Hi everyone, welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I've got a cute and simple 3D project for you today using the acetate card boxes. We're going to cut them in half to create an adorable party favor. You can also use this exact same idea to hold candy or even a gift card. I'd like to thank Angie Leach for the original idea. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started on today's project. Here's a good close-up of the project we're going to be creating today. If you're here visiting from YouTube, you'll find a link in the description of this video below that will navigate you over to the pictures, cutting dimensions, and supplies for this project. The Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer comes with both the scoring and the cutting blade, and the great thing is they can be navigated up and down and out of the way while you're getting your paper ready for alignment. We're going to change up the pattern on this just a little bit. I actually ran out of that exact same designer series paper. The sample comes from the All Is Bright designer series paper, and we're going to be using the Festive Farmhouse designer series paper. We're going to do some scoring. So I'm going to flip this upside down and we're going to score from the back. The very first score line is going to be at a 1/2 inch, which is here. There's a nice bar here at the top that helps keep your paper straight and aligned. And you're also going to notice that there's printed grid lines right here on the trimmer, which make alignment a lot easier. We'll go ahead and align that, and then we'll close the arm, and then we'll score at the 1/2 inch. We're going to move it over to 4 3/4, and we are going to score again, and this time at 5 1/4. Once we have our score lines all done, we're going to want to use our bone folder to reinforce them so that they'll hold up nicely inside the box. So I'm going to crease, and then I'm going to look on both sides to make sure my paper is aligned. And I'm going to do that on all 3 lines that are here. The one thing about making a 3D project is you want to make sure that you take your time both using the proper adhesive and with your scoring. I'm going to be using the acetate card boxes to create this favor. And all I did ahead of the video was I used a guillotine paper cutter and I cut the box in half. If you measure from end to end, it's about 8 inches, so I cut at the 4-inch mark. And then once your cut is made, just crack it and the acetate will break. If you don't have a guillotine or an industrial strength paper cutter, go ahead and leave yourself a little tick mark with a ballpoint pen or a fine tip Sharpie marker at the 4-inch line. Then use your scissors to cut up the center so that you end up with 2 halves. The great thing about this project is that one box will make 2 favors. The acetate card boxes are really well constructed, so they're quite strong. I like to break down the acetate by going back and forth on each of those score lines, and then we're just going to put the bottom half of this box together. Once the box has been put together, you can go ahead and just slip your insert down inside. I prefer to have the closure to be the back of my box, and I want to make sure that this opening is going to be in the back as well, so it's less noticeable from the front. So go ahead and just drop that right down inside. While I have my box here, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the Festive Farmhouse Baker's Twine. This comes in a trio pack and it does coordinate with this designer series paper. I've cut myself about 36 inches here. I found the easiest way to do this, since the box is not filled, was to take my ink pad and slip it down inside so it's a little sturdier. I'm going to wrap the Baker's Twine around here twice, and because of the acetate it makes it really easy to use, so it's kind of slippery. And I'm going to pull these loose ends over to one side. My raw ends are about even, so I'm going to go ahead and make a tie, and then I'm going to bring it through this bottom layer as well. You'll see here in 1 second. All I'm doing is I'm cinching those 2 layers together. Especially in a 3D project, we want to make sure that we don't have anything that's going to slide off. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this very, very tautly, and I'm going to put my finger here, and I'm going to make a knot. Once that knot has been made, we'll go ahead and make ourselves a bow. To adjust your loop sizes, put your finger right here on the knot and then pull your raw ends. And that'll make the loops a little bit smaller without losing the tension of your bow. Then I'll come in with my paper snips and I'll just give this a little bit of a haircut. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these just for some visual interest. So I'm going to move these apart. I cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock. You're going to find all the cutting dimensions in that link of this video below. I'm going to use the Cherry Cobbler ink, and I'm going to use this adorable Santa image from the So Santa stamp set. Isn't that little Chef Santa really cute? This is the stamp set with lots of cute, adorable images and some really great greetings to go along with it. I'll go ahead and I'm going to ink him up. I'm concentrating just to get a portion of him here at the top of the paper. I'm switching over now to the Garden Green ink pad, just nostalgic Christmas colors, and I've pulled out the greeting from that same stamp set that says, "Sugar and spice make Christmas nice." That's just wonderful if you're going to be including hand-baked goods, and I'll stamp that here right next to it. Let's set that aside for a second and let's talk about the clear envelopes. This is an overlooked product inside the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. These clear envelopes actually can be used for mailing of your handmade cards as well. You can address the envelopes using a Sharpie marker and then affix your stamp, and of course you'll need a label for the return address, or of course handwrite it using that Sharpie marker again. I chose to fill mine with pizzelles. This is an Italian cookie. It's rather tasty, believe it or not, as plain as it looks. But I've got a funny story for you. When we went shopping, Bob the builder, who is my husband, accidentally dropped the bag, and almost all the cookies broke. So I've pulled out the nicest one I can find from the broken package, and I'm going to slip that down inside. I'll turn that bottom edge down. The clear envelopes have a paper shield over the sticky end, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull that off. And I'm going to roll this down so I leave about a ½ an inch or so here at the top. I'm going to put that sealed edge to the back. Remember this piece that we stamped? Well, it's going to get mounted on top of here. This is a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock. You can either fold it or score it in half. I'm going to use my bone folder again for that nice crisp edge. Here is that envelope. I'm going to slip this over the top, and you're going to see I'm going to go down just about halfway, aligning my edges. The easiest way to do this, especially if you're going to make a lot of these for classroom favors or for gifts, is to use a stapler. So I've got a stapler here, and I'm going to staple it towards the inside where it's not going to show. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and adhere it over the top. This topper is going to allow me the opportunity to provide the stability for the packaging, as well as a little bit of a decorative edge. I'm going to be very generous because I want to make sure that this doesn't lift around the staples. So I'll go ahead and create a little bit of a border there, and I'll press that in place. And then my cookie is going to go right down inside of my box. Isn't this cute? If they're for a classroom, think of perhaps candy, maybe individually packaged fruit snacks, or even novelty gifts will fit inside. Here's the one that we created today with the Festive Farmhouse paper, and this is the one with the All is Bright Designer Series paper. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and are interested in purchasing Stampin' Up! Supplies, I would be happy to send you a complimentary copy of the holiday catalog and or the annual catalog. Just leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.